Arsenal and Everton fans lie in wait. Havertz has options. Bayern say no to a new striker. We got a transfer roundup and today's Friday feels all coming up in the next few minutes. As I'm your host Matt Frodik, you are the Onefootballers, and this is the Daily News. First off, and to Arsenal fans and Everton fans who are obviously eagerly awaiting the announcement of their brand new managers. In fact, by the time this video comes out later this morning, Mikel Arteta may already be in place as Arsenal's manager. The Manchester City assistant manager said his goodbye to the club yesterday, and apparently a seven-figure sum has been agreed between the two clubs for the transfer of the Spaniard. This means that Arsenal will be entering a whole new era, because surely they're not going to go through all that effort to bring in someone and then just get rid of him after a few months, after a few poor performances. Arsenal fans, things may not go exactly as planned at the beginning, but you've got to remember that Arteta is also learning and guiding himself through his way in his first managerial job, as well as he's also guiding the team, hopefully for them, back to the top four. Things may get dicey for a little bit, but I've no doubt in the future Arteta really will go on to be a great manager, especially after learning under the tutelage of Pep Guardiola. As for Everton, well, Carlo Ancelotti's had more talks face-to-face this week with the club and apparently could be in charge for the Boxing Day match in just over a week's time. What that means, though, is that for this weekend, the Arsenal versus Everton match, both caretakers will still be in charge. Even if Arteta does come in, Freddie Ljungberg's taken over preparations for the Everton game like he has the last few weeks, so he'll come up against Duncan Ferguson, who apparently, if Ancelotti joins, will go back to being part of the backroom staff. As for the result of this game, well, we're going to have to find out a little bit later what I think in today's Friday Feels. But next up, and on to Kai Havertz, who after a stunning season last year for Leverkusen has a lot of options regarding his future. Now, this season he hasn't quite been at the races, so much so that Leverkusen think they should cash on him now rather than waiting a few more months and seeing that his value drops ever so slightly. Apparently the German club want 130 million for him. Don't get me wrong, I think he's an unbelievable player and could go on to be one of the best midfielders in Europe, but that seems like an extortionate amount of money. Anyway, if there's anyone that's going to pay it, it's Manchester United. Apparently Havertz representatives have been in talk with not only United, but Real Madrid, City and Barcelona as well, but I'm not so sure this deal will be happening in January, as it's a hell of a lot of money for a club to shell out, and if Leverkusen are going to lose someone, they'd rather do it in the summer when they've got more time to bring someone else in, rather than in the January transfer window. What it would represent, though, is Manchester United taking a big step forward to bring in some real quality in that attacking midfield area. We all know that Jesse Lingard just really isn't doing the business in that number 10 role. United have often struggled. It seems like when they win the ball back and they haven't got the counter-attack on for one of their speedier forwards, they need someone to carry the ball or to pass to and be that link from the midfield to the attack. Havertz could fit this role perfectly. In fact, that's literally the role of a number 10. I think he's definitely, as I mentioned, going to go on to be a star in the future, and if he does that at Old Trafford, well, more better for them. But sticking with German football, and Bayern Munich chief Karl-Heinz Rummenigge has said that they do not plan on signing any new strikers in the January transfer window. That means that Robert Lewandowski is the only recognised senior striker at the club, and again, they face a similar debacle that Tottenham do with Harry Kane. Basically, when the number one striker is a really good player and they want to play every single game, it's impossible to bring in another striker under the premise that they're going to be sat on the bench, basically just waiting for a chance on the off chance that one of the strikers gets injured or just drops out of form. As we see with Robert Lewandowski, the chances of him going off form are ridiculously minimal. So unless he gets injured, he's going to play every game and no one's going to want to come in and play backup, especially not Timo Werner. He is, of course, a young German talent, so nature dictates that he'll end up at Bayern Munich. But he's not going to move if he's just going to play second fiddle to Lewandowski. The other option they've got at the moment is Joshua Zirkzee, the Netherlands international, who's an unbelievable youngster and has now made his first steps into the Bundesliga by scoring a last-minute winner. On Wednesday night, Munich beat Freiburg 3-1 when it was 1-1 heading into the 90th minute. The kid popped up, banged in his first goal, and maybe, just maybe, Lewandowski has the perfect understudy. Bayern fans, let me know what you think. Who would you sign to replace or to play an understudy to Robert Lewandowski? Now on to a roundup of the rest of the day's transfer news, where Liga strugglers Nîmes have made an approach for Emmanuel Adebayor, the 35-year-old ex-Manchester City, Arsenal, Tottenham and various other clubs player. Zlatan Ibrahimovic has said he would be interested in the reunion with Carlo Ancelotti should the Italian manager sign at Everton. Thomas Tuchel is on the list of Manchester City should Pep Guardiola leave at the end of the season. And Getafe are interested in bringing in Barcelona's Carlos Alenya. So lastly but not least, we come to today's Friday Feels. This is where you guys let me know your footballing predictions for the weekend's football in the comment section down below. Let me know whatever you think about the weekend's football. A red card, a manager sacking, a goal, a scoreline, an assist, whatever you guys want to talk about. So for me, I'm going to go for 3 predictions this weekend in a bumper weekend for the Premier League. First off, and as I mentioned earlier, the Everton-Arsenal game, I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. Both got some good attacking players, both got pretty poor defences. As for Leicester-Manchester City, I can see City dropping more points, although actually I'm going to give credit to Leicester and say they'll gain a point at the Etihad Stadium in a 1-1 draw. And lastly but not least, as Jose Mourinho hosts his former club Chelsea, I think Spurs will run out 2-1 winners. So there you have it, that's all from me for today, and well, for this year, even this decade. This is the last daily news for me for the year. But don't worry, Paddy will be in next week as most of the Onefootball office is off on Christmas holidays. Of course, we've got loads of content coming up on Onefootball, some of which you can find by clicking here or here. That's it from me though, have a great holiday period, and until next year, I will see you guys later.